Sometimes a champion has to show you what he's made of. And the messages come clean sometimes. They come very clean. And this past Saturday, January 7th, 2023, in the first big fight of the year, the first pay-per-view of the year, Gervonta Tank Davis turned back the challenge of Hector Luis Garcia, who was coming up from super featherweight to challenge him. But it was shown to be the type of fight that brings about knowledge of one's position in the sport, and Tank Davis is beginning to show that he is definitely maturing as a fighter. Let's talk about this fight that he had this past Saturday.
For Spence right now. He's been throwing that right left
Gervonta Tank Davis versus Hector Luis Garcia was the first big pay-per-view fight of 2023. And as it has gone recently for Gervonta, he did not disappoint. In a card that featured an undercard full of named fighters to ring in the new year, the names such as Jaron Boots Ennis, Demetrius Andrade, Rashidi Ellis. Tank Davis headlined a card that he decided to share the spotlight with contemporaries. And he did not disappoint, as he came out and put on a display like only he does in recent memory. His fight against Hector Luis Garcia is something that people may talk about for a while, for a multitude of reasons. Davis entered this fight patiently, calculatingly, not looking like the young man who just days before the event had incurred some personal issues that involved the law and domestic. But he entered this promotion as the consummate professional. And that's where I really take my hat off to him, because the pressures of fame and success in this age can be a rude awakening for people. But Davis came into this fight prepared and looking to rip and let go. And he did exactly that. In a fight that saw him competing with Hector Luis Garcia in the early rounds, Tank looked to find his range. He looked to find where he may be able to land solidly against Garcia, who is a proven, experienced boxer and with an Olympic pedigree. So Davis, who is now 28-0 with 26 KOs, had to be cautious, seeking to find his range, seeking to find exactly how he may be best in attacking Garcia, looking to find his own jab, competing against a fellow southpaw. Saw Davis probing and looking for that range. As the rounds went by, he was seeking to get a little bit closer and a little bit closer to Garcia. And interestingly, Garcia obliged. He let Tank get near. After opening the fight with the first couple of rounds, keeping Tank at the end of his jab, Tank, by round 4, began to show something. And what he began to show, Garcia really didn't pick up on the signals. He began to show that he can touch him. And that's when the fight seemed to change. And it was very interesting how that went, because Garcia thought he was putting in good work. And to a degree he was. But I had noticed he began to drop his hands somewhat. And in dropping your hands against a fearsome, dangerous puncher like Tank Davis, it's a big no-no. So now Garcia, whose record has dropped to 16-1 with 10 KOs, became the latest victim of being hurt by Tank Davis. And it was not something that was clear to see. It was something that we just didn't necessarily have a real feel for. But as I said, I had noticed that Garcia began to drop his hands somewhat, and Tank was able to close that distance, getting in closer and ever closer still. It made all the difference, because now that he can touch Garcia, he can put him in danger with power. And Garcia seemed negligent, allowing Tank on the inside to land some fearsome shots. But I have to say that Garcia has a pretty darn good chin. He displayed the ability to take some clean shots from Tank Davis that we weren't expecting him to necessarily be able to take. But he did say the crushing power punches that Tank was able to land in the 8th round made a huge difference in how the fight went for him and how the fight would end for him. Tank had landed an overhand left that caught Garcia on the side of his head, and he wasn't able to recover from that shot. When the round ended, a wobbly Garcia was escorting Tank back to his own corner when the referee had to turn him around and direct him back to his own corner. As soon as he sat down, a conversation ensued between he and his trainers, and they realized it was at that point they would have to stop the fight. In his post-fight interview, Garcia, through a translator, stated, "When I got the shot to my head in that final round, that's when I couldn't see from my eye. I didn't know where I was when he hit me with that shot. My vision is back, but my head still hurts. I couldn't see from my right eye. It was going well up until that point. I was picking my shots. But he was getting very reckless with his defense. Davis rocked him with a series of blows that buckled him. Carrying his hands a little low against a fearsome puncher like Tank would be his undoing. And even though Garcia would admit to he got caught, against a puncher like Tank Davis, you do not want to prove your toughness. The objective is to get in there and get out of there. Keep your hands up and to defend yourself properly. He was unable to do that, and so therefore he ended up with a TKO stoppage after the 8th round ended. He couldn't come out for the 9th. But my criticism of him is wondering whether or not he had ever been clocked in a fight before, whether in the gym, because sometimes that'll happen. You lose your bearings, you lose sight of what's happening, and next thing you know, things will return, but you have to buy that time. Garcia wasn't able to do that against Davis, and that was that. Now, one may wonder, what is next for Tank? There are rumblings that the fight between he and Ryan Garcia may finally take place. But will Ryan finally step up to the plate? Because it's on his back. Win, lose, or draw. People want to see this. And I believe Tank really wants this fight as well. He is truly a pay-per-view star. He fought at a packed arena once again. The people come out for Tank Davis, and he delivers for the people each and every outing. So, if next up be Ryan Garcia in the springtime, we can bet wherever they face off, the house will be packed and the rafters stacked. I think Tank is well on his way to another big victory, regardless of who it may be. He's coming into his own just as he is coming into his prime. And I look forward to see what the future has for Tank Davis. What do you think? This is Stormy B-Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Who do you want to see Tank Davis fight next? And will he pull it all off? It remains to be seen. Peace to everyone out there, and everyone, please remain safe.